come on in, come on in. I'm a little bit tired today, so excuse my tardiness or tiredness. I don't even know what I'm saying today. um, so we're going to be having an interesting conversation today, and my energy is reflective of what we actually need to be doing is taking a rest. Remembering to take rest, but also remembering that we manifest in ways that are unconventional as well. We'll go into that shortly, but I'll give a little bit of time for some of you guys to come into the live. I hope everyone is having an awesome day today. This energy is really crazy as I'm a Gemini. Last night I was so energetic, like could not sleep, could not bring down my mind. That's why I'm actually really tired. And in fact, I actually got an intuitive message through all of that yesterday that I'm going to share today, and it's actually guidance of what we can do in this time to be able to assist ourselves. Hi Maya, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well on this beautiful, I don't know what day it is today because every day has been blended into one and we don't know where we are. Time just exists somehow. But yeah, so we're going to be talking about the new moon in Gemini today. Before we get into the transits, just a little reminder. Hi, cultural connoisseur. Hope you're well today. For those of you who don't know, I've actually released my own workbook, shadow workbook called Face It. It's 250 plus questions to heal the dark side of the human psyche. It's almost like your own personal therapist in a book. It really allows you to just the type of questions that are in this book is not something that is for the lighthearted. Genuinely, this is a book that if you're really ready to face certain dark hidden aspects of yourself, which is not a nice easy process to be able to be going through, if you're not ready for that journey, if you're not really ready to actually honestly go through that journey, then this book is not for you. Because some of these questions will trigger you and you wouldn't know how to be able to navigate that. So this is simply for those who are ready. You can find this book straight on Amazon, directly on Amazon. Just type in Face It Shadow Workbook and Naomi Elliott and it should come up. I will have the description, the links in the description below as well. Yeah, so much energy yesterday and tired today, just chilling. Literally, I told myself I am taking a break. I had to tell my partner, listen, you're gonna have to take over some tasks for me. Like you're gonna have to do certain stuff within the business because I need to take a break. The business still needs to be running, but I need a break. I need to slow things right down at the moment. Cultural connoisseur, oh, here for it sis, yes. Maya says I'm getting my copy on Kindle tomorrow once I get paid. I'm super excited, yay. No, it's absolutely awesome. This book, the feedback that I've been getting from it so far is amazing, and you know, it's one of the main themes that I keep hearing back is it's something that needs to be done. It's something that is necessary for people to actually know how to be able to assist or navigate their own shadows. It's not an easy process to do. A lot of people talk about it, but then I always get the question, how do you actually practically do it? So, you know, this is a book that is really effective for that. Can you put up the link? Yes, it will be shipping to the US. There's two different there's a link for each marketplace. So there's the US marketplace and there's the UK. There's all different countries and marketplaces. I will be putting the link below for the US as well, so you will have it down below. But if you go directly into your marketplace and just type and face it Naomi Elliott, it should come up, and you should be able to find it in the meantime. So let's get into the content today, because I still want to be able to go to bed tonight. I didn't want to give it another day because I was supposed to go live yesterday, but I was like, no, I needed to take a rest today. I just wanted to get this video out of the way so that I can focus on all the other videos that I've got coming up. There's a lot of energies to decipher, and I can't do it all in one video. I'm a Gemini, I talk too much. So, I mean, it's beneficial for you guys. At least you understand these energies a bit better. So, let's get into today. So, what is the new moon in Gemini is going to be coming in on the 22nd of May, which is very interesting because 22 again is a master number. I'm not a numerologist. However, number 22 would be a master number, being a double digit. But it's also May 5, right? 5 is the number of birthing, expansion. And so this is reflective of what this energy is trying to sparking us at the moment. I've named this this video the new moon in Gemini, tapping into the inner magician. That's exactly what is going to be coming up right now. That birthing, that expansion is us being able to step into our own creative, manifestive power with this Gemini energy at the moment. So the new moon is a new cycle that is beginning. It's an opportunity for us to begin to plant new seeds, set new intentions, and especially when it comes to the new moon, the new moon is dark. It's representative of darkness, and I actually love new moons more than I like full moons, because we're always attracted to the light, that full moon, where everything's illuminated. But that darkness, that new moon, that hidden place, that's a place of power. And so I always love being able to tap into this type of energy at the moment. So it's allowing us to think about what is it that we want to be able to create. What types, even with regards to our thought processes, we're going to have to be thinking about our thought processes a lot, especially as we're having a Gemini stellium at the moment, and the North Node is going to be in Gemini for the next 2.5 years. So we've got a lot of intense Gemini energy, which is focusing towards the mind. Gemini is the mind, and the North Node is it's a development. It's where we are actually developing. So we're going to be focusing on the development of the mind, development of the thought processes of the mind. And the reason why it's important to be able to pay attention to this is because we don't understand how powerful our minds is in able to manifest subconscious things. You know, how many times have you thought about something and it's just manifested right in front of you? And we don't often take responsibility for this manifestive power, whatever the word is. You're not going to get anything clear out of me today in terms of words, so you'll have to bear with me. And if you caught my video that I did a few days ago on Venus retrograde in Gemini, I was talking about Venus being that attractive energy, and with what we say, we'll be able to attract at the same time. So you really want to be paying attention to your thoughts, what is going on in your mind, what you're actually focusing on, and the things that you're actually saying from your mouth. This is why it's important for us to be paying attention to our inner self-talk, and this book has actually got a chapter in there about paying attention to your self-talk, and what do you mainly listen to, because you know, a lot of us have a lot of negative self-talk, and that actually is what is creating certain patterns and experiences within our life. New moons are hopeful. Yes, it's a blur, sis. We all we are with you. Listen, I'm a Gemini, so me, the way I'm talking, and this is another thing as well that I also want to bring up in regards to this energy. Mercury is about to go retrograde next month as well. I told you guys, literally the whole universe has gone retrograde on our asses. Like, it has no chill right now. But Mercury is about to go retrograde next month, and it's going to conjunct Venus. And so there's going to be even more confusion. But one thing about especially Venus in Gemini, it's a very, very creative energy. And Mercury in Gemini, it's a very creative energy. A lot can be channeled creatively through this energy. The thing is, when you, especially when retrogrades come up, you want things to go a certain way. You want to be able to be focused. You want to be able to know what you're doing. You want to have things in order. You want things to move a certain way. You want things to progress a certain way. However, when retrogrades is taking place, especially when there's a high intense energy of retrogrades that are taking place, things are not going to be going the way that you expect it to go. So what do you have to do? Take a step back. Allow yourself to just allow things to just flow. If it shifts that way, shift with it. If it shifts that way, shift with it. And so this is a time where you really want to be paying attention. And Mercury actually will be going, it will station retrograde in Cancer, but it will retrograde back into Gemini. So there's this emotional element that is going to be coming up with this whole Mercury retrograde. But again, Cancer, it can be a very it's like water energy. It can be creative energy at the same time. So you really want to fill things out creatively and just allow yourself to just express the way it needs to. It doesn't have to be in a box, you know. It doesn't have to, like, just express. Don't have any expectations of how it's going to come out, because, and this is how you begin to change your perspective in things and begin to see things more as art, even if it doesn't make sense. You know, there's art in everything, and when we begin to not allow ourselves to be so critical of how we express certain things, that's when things really begin to come together for us, because we're allowing ourselves to acknowledge and embrace the yin, the yang, the all, the everything. It just is what it is, and you're allowing it to be what it is at the same time. So another thing, the lunar eclipse will be happening on the 5th of June, and this will be happening at 15 degrees of Sagittarius. Now this is it's a lot, because this is going to be opposing my sun. The 5th of June is literally a day before my birthday, so this is a degree away. This is conjunct my sun within a degree, so this is going to be very intense for me. And any Geminis, in fact, let me talk to Geminis in a second, but anyone who's got anything between 15 to 20 degrees of Sagittarius, Gemini, definitely pay attention to what's happening around those areas, as the lunar eclipse will really bring things up. And it's not so much the lunar eclipses. This is this lunar eclipse. Eclipses usually have an energy for about 6 months. However, because we've got another eclipse that will be happening in July, shortly after this one, it's almost like this energy is gonna hit very quickly, and then the second energy, the second eclipse will be more intense when it hits. So there's a lot of transformations that's going to be happening for sure. Like, Geminis, pay attention. Sagittarius, there's a lot of developments that's going to be happening with you, and especially with this lunar eclipse energy, Sagittarius can sometimes be a representative of that emotional battlefield, and I'm quite concerned about the energy coming up over the next few weeks and months, because it's going to be very intense, and we can almost understand how that could end up happening with people coming out of out of lockdown, and the reality of the mental health pressures, and all of these things are going to become a reality for us going forward. And so I feel like this is even more reason why we've got all of this Gemini energy coming up at the moment, because we're going to have to be caring for the mind. And what is also Gemini is caring for your communities, having it's a very communal element. Sorry, your neighborhoods, your communities. So there's a lot of this that's going to be coming up, and especially with all of this Venus retrograde, this sorry, not Venus retrograde, Pluto retrograde in particular. This is again bringing a lot to the surface, but as Saturn is also in retrograde, where this is all happening because we have to there's some things that we need to review. There's some things that we haven't dealt with. There's some foundations that still need to be solidified. And this is a time where literally it's going to be everything. Like, imagine someone just got a blanket and you've got a whole picnic on it. This is the universe just literally going like, boom, you're going to have to deal with it now. It's all up. You can't, what are you going to do now? Everything's going to come to the surface, and it's going to be painful to go through it, but it's a necessary process that we as humanity need to begin to grow through, because this is the essence of the evolution. This is evolution. This is our own evolution that we're going through. And it's interesting, I said something on my Facebook earlier talking about planet Earth. Planet Earth is representative of Taurus. And it's so funny, like, people, my neighbors must think I'm actually crazy. Because I'll actually be laughing to myself getting information from planets, like, oh, that's so crazy. Like, I was trying to connect with Uranus, trying to get some messages, and then all I heard was Earth is full of stubborn people, and I was like, oh yeah, it's Taurus, yes. And it makes sense as to why Uranus has to be in Taurus for the next 7 years, because we're so stubborn in our development and in our evolution, we like things to be comfortable a lot of the times. We don't like things to we just like things to go a certain way, just keep prodding along. I don't care if it doesn't excite me. I don't care. Like, I just need everything to just move smoothly. I just need everything to be comfortable, right? And Uranus is that light, that electric light bulb. It's that shock that has to come to bug you out of your comfort zone, to begin to finally come into something, finally come into some truth, finally come into yourself. And this is what's happening to the planet as a whole right now. We're having to be triggered to move, to shift, because we're doing too comfortable doing the same thing over and over and over again. So this is not going to be a comfortable shift for us. We have to begin to just allow ourselves to become a bit more mutable in our approach, which is what all this Gemini is bringing to us. Gemini is a mutable sign. It's adaptable. It knows it. This is why it's often hard for, or one of the keywords that will come up with Gemini is lack of commitment, because it has to begin to it has to be free. It has to just be able to flow and do whatever it needs to do, have no attachments, and just, do what it needs to do. So last night was interesting, as I mentioned mentioned earlier in this live. My mind was really, really active, and it was just like, I just need to sleep. And I haven't really had I used to struggle with insomnia a lot, until shortly after I gave birth, luckily. And I was actually, in fact, if anyone struggles with insomnia, bergamot oil, I tried everything else. Bergamot oil was the only thing that could cure my insomnia. So fun fact for that. But yeah, my mind was really active, and I was like, what is going on? I feel like I need to be up in this moment. I feel like I need to get maybe it's a message that I need to receive, and I ended up getting that message. But before I got that message, I was just led to get up and go to my essential oil table. I'm an essential oil head. And I usually divine what oil I need to be able to use in that time. And I know the meanings of the oils and stuff, but I will actually allow my intuition to guide me to what I need in that moment. So I was guided to marjoram, marjoram oil, which is quite interesting because marjoram is it's really good for air signs, right? And Gemini is an air sign, and the reason why it's good is because it helps to calm the overactiveness of the mind. And this is what we're going through right now, all of this overactiveness, this hyper stimulation of the mind, to where you feel like you have to keep going. In fact, if you've probably got if you've got Gemini in your 10th house, or Mercury in your 10th house, you're probably someone who overworks yourself because you constantly have to be on the go. So you can understand this type of energy playing out here. So what it also does is it helps to open the heart space. And this is what I find quite interesting, because this is connecting with Venus retrograde. And there's some things that the heart wants to be able to express. Gemini, communication, connection. It wants to be able to express. And if you go and look back at my video, the preservation of time, something like that. Yes, Saturn, the great pause, that video. And I was talking about ice and the heart, and the encasing of ice that often gets shielded around the heart, that makes us become cold and makes us become really detached. And that is another keyword for Gemini, that emotional detachment, or more so emotional unavailability. Things would it's almost like, and in fact, this is the clash that's going to be happening in itself, that clash between the mind and the heart, which one do I listen to, which one am I sitting in at the moment? That's those two polarities that are kind of clashing at the moment. Even when you're talking, let me give you an example. You ask someone, how are you today? The mind would often respond, yeah, I'm okay. It's an automatic response. The heart hasn't actually responded to that question. If the heart wanted to respond to that question, it'd probably say, actually, I'm not okay. I'm really tired. I'm drained. I'm this, I'm that. I don't feel like this. There's a lot more that would come in response to that question. So in this time, I really want you to be more mindful of what your heart is not expressing. Try to compartmentalize yourself, even listening to yourself when you're talking to people. What am I responding with? Am I responding with my mind, or am I responding with my heart? These are things that we need to begin to ask ourselves. So yeah, the message that I got with marjoram was really begin to slow down the mind, and find ways to process that energy through having the conversations that you need to have, and aside from that, having the conversations you need to have is also being able to create or have creative mediums that you can express yourself, or express your emotions, like writing or art therapy. I started using spoken word as a way for me to understand my emotions. There's a really good technique called free writing, also known as channel writing or automatic writing, where you don't even think about what it is that you need to write, but you're just allowing yourself to process. If you don't have a word to say, keep writing the last word until you have another word. And the reason why that exercise is really important is because we need to learn to override that mental process that blocks us from being able to tap into the inner self, what's really going on, into the heart, into all of these spaces, because Venus wants us to be able to pay attention to what's going on in these temples. If we're not taking that time to go inside and really discover these, and if we're not taking, or if we're allowing ourselves to continually be distracted by things that doesn't actually benefit us, because Gemini is that distractive energy. It's got so many different things out there. It wants to be able to connect with, oh my gosh, this training, this so many different things you want to be able to have, but you need to be able to um and there's nothing bad with that as well, you know. There are times when you need to be able to switch between loads of different things, but what I'm feeling in this moment is just still yourself a bit and learn how to channel all of that energy that is coming in into creative ways that helps you to understand a bit more about what's going on within the inside of yourself. um yeah, one of the things I feel with this energy is the words that came to me was breakthroughs and breakdowns and breakthroughs. Because again, with that Gemini, there's almost a split reality that's taking place. There's some people that will be going through some breakthroughs, and there's some people that will be going through some breakdowns. Even when we look at the market, Venus and Gemini, that in itself is very erratic. There's going to be some big gains and big losses. I've seen people make some crazy amounts in a day and then lose crazy amounts in a day, and this is going to be the energy over this next period. But that's that energy that is also playing out in our lives. Some people are going to be going through some breakthroughs. You'll see them with their entrepreneurial endeavors and the businesses that they're creating and the things that they're manifesting. It's just going to be like, whoa, 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 breakthrough, breakthrough, breakthrough. Some people, because they haven't actually facilitated a healthy foundation, it may feel like you're going through a breakdown, and it's not. What we have to remember that this is happening in a Saturn retrograde. So Saturn retrograde is giving us grace right now to review the things that hasn't solidified our foundations, that's not allowed us to feel secure in these times. And this is going to take the next 4.5 months to be able to do that. One of the valuable things about Saturn retrograde is that Saturn's usually retrograde almost half of the year. So it will be retrograde almost half of the year, but then it will be direct almost the same amount of time. So the same amount of time that it takes for you to really review and make sure that these things are in order is the same amount of time that it will take to really get things in motion. So please don't despise these retrogrades. It may sound scary, it may feel scary, it may feel intense, but it's understanding that without these retrogrades, we wouldn't be able to see what's going wrong. Retrograde is almost like our opportunity to go through our own MOT service and figure out, okay, what's going on here? What do I need to review? What do I need to relook at? What do I need to, what have I missed? What didn't I pay attention to this time that I need to pay attention to this time? And what do I need to do to make sure that this doesn't become an issue when it goes direct? This is what retrogrades are all about. So it's nothing scary. And also with the 8th house of Scorpio being Gemini, this is where this whole transformational and highly magnetic manifestative energy is coming from. The 8th house is the rule of Scorpio, so it is that metamorphosis, is that ability to transform lead into gold. You're in one state here, now you're in another state, right? You've been able to completely transform your circumstance, and this is what's going to be taking place. But this is a choice that we make, and it's a choice based on the actions that we're going to be making. It's funny, like I was thinking about this earlier about the externalization of the image of God, and how disempowering it is when you think that God is outside of yourself. And times like this, you're expecting a God in the sky to come down and change your whole circumstance, and that is something that is not going to happen. If you're in that position where you're expecting the universe to do something, and you're allowing yourself to be you're allowing the universe to choose what happens to your life, and you're not actually taking the opportunity to take the wheel of your own life, this is where it's going to become an issue. Choice is really important in this time. What else did I want to say? Oh, so we also have Venus that is going to be squaring Neptune, and this is what's going to bring some of this confused energy, this energy that's hard to decipher, hard to understand, hard to gain clarity, really foggy. Yeah, it's this is also going to play out in collectively, and you'll probably see something in the media that's almost going to be like, what the hell, almost perceive some kind of false flaggy type event type thing, where it's like, okay, what, I don't know how to I don't know what to think of that. So for example, if there was a new random the Rona that came out, and it was doing something really erratic, and you're reading this from the newspaper, and you're like, okay, I don't really know what to take of that. It's really hard to decipher what's actually going on, and it's going to be interesting because going into this Gemini energy, Gemini is that trickster energy. It's a trickster. And this is where we're getting a lot of that propaganda, deliberate propaganda, deliberate to confuse and to throw you off guard, so you don't really know the truth of what's going on. So it's important to really stay grounded in this time. And it's funny because I was also led to grab my I make oils as well, so I had to grab my root chakra oil, and just really just indulge in that, because I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And it's I don't usually get swept up by energies like that. So when I get swept up, I know it's a very intense energy that's going on at the same time. We also want to be very mindful of obsessive thought patterns. And again, that whole overdoing energy, you could come onto something and then start overthinking something, and then you obsess on an idea that didn't actually exist, it didn't actually happen. So you give yourself your own, you give yourself psychosis just because you're allowing yourself to overthink. Gemini overthinks, Virgo overanalyzes. So we're in this overthinking energy, overthinking, overthinking. If we just, and this is why it's important to really think, really pay attention to those thoughts and what is it that you're actually overthinking, because that overthinking, or what the things that you're overthinking, those are the things that will end up manifesting if you're not careful. So be in control of what you're allowing to filter in your mind. This is I'm seeing almost like I'm seeing hands literally treating the brain like a precious gem or something. Like it's really precious. Really see your mind, your mind, your thoughts as precious. That whole space within your mind, that whole your temple, right? What is this? These are your temples. Your third eye is within your temples. So this is a temple that you need to actually take care of. So what else did I want to say? Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to be able to say on these energies. But let me know if you guys have any questions. I will pull a few cards before I leave, just so that I can give you guys a bit more clarity. So let me know if you guys would want a reading, and let me know if you have any questions that you would like me to answer before I get off. But I hope that was a bit of a I hope that breakdown was beneficial for you and you understand a bit more about these energies. And also with the marjoram, I do actually sell essential oils. For those of you who don't know, I sell pure therapeutic grade essential oils that you can actually take internally as well, and you can put it in your drinks and your waters and in veggie capsules. It's that pure, and you cannot do that with every oil. I do not advise you to go pick up essential oils and start putting them in your in your drinks, because I promise you it's not real honey as much as they want to say it's pure. Unfortunately, the industry is not regulated. So that's something that you can actually go and check out if you want. I will put another link in the description for that as well. But I'll just do an overall thing of the energy so we know what's going on. I don't want to do too much today because I still need to go to my bed. Maya, yes, I will do your reading. I'm just going to do an overall card first of all. Let me do this deck as well. I'm feeling hot flushes as well. This energy is actually a lot. Yes, it's just like I was saying. So I love actually just being an intuitive, because you actually just, all the cards that you pull end up being confirmation anyway. So the first card that's come up is the Magic Circle of Protection. And this is really, number one, learning to stand in your own power. Learning to know that, because I'm also, again, forgot about that. Again, all of this Gemini stellium of energy is heightening astral attacks. So that's probably what is emphasizing a lot of this mental energy and maybe mental health energy. It's crazy because I'm seeing people just go crazy on my road. Like, just it's kind of getting scary. So what it's also knowing that you're divinely protected. We have the power to protect ourselves. There's people, I'm also feeling the energy that some people may be kind of anxious in this energy, knowing that there are the potential of astral attacks going on, but it's like, okay, well, what do I actually do? The moment that you're actually aware and you're paying attention to your mind, what's actually going on, what's entering your mind, I'm seeing like a checkpoint process within the mind. You're creating some type of checkpoint that allows you to continually regulate what is actually going on in your mind. Going into yourself 3-4 times a day, checking in. What's actually going on in my mind? What's actually going on inside? Really not allowing yourself to neglect those things. So that's how you actually protect yourself. You protect yourself by being aware of your inner space and being selective and intentional of your actions and what it is that you choose to engage in. The next card that came up was the Secret card, is the Book of Shadows, and this again confirms the whole thing of being able to manifest from the inside. It's that inner the Book of Shadows is secret, it's hidden, right? So this is this is your ability, and I keep talking about mentalism. I don't actually use tools when it comes to doing any type of ritual work or any type of manifestive work unless I'm led to actually do something. A lot of the time I use mentalism because, like I've said, the mind is the most powerful aspect of ourselves. We just don't actually utilize this power. So we're actually going to learn how to manifest out of the shadows, especially the new moon. The new moon is in the shadows, in the darkness. We're going to know how to be able to manifest out of the shadows, that whatever it is that we're focusing on, whether it's the scaling of your business, whether it's being able to, I don't know what you may be doing at this moment, but this is going to give you the inspiration to finally be like, right, this is what I am manifesting, and you're taking control of that and you're acting in that at the same time. The last card that came up is the Power card. And with this, again, this is kind of connecting to that Pluto retrograde energy, as we're coming up with all of these power struggles. But this is reminding us of our own power, right? In all of this energy where you can often feel disempowered, it's remembering that you're also powerful. You have the power to be able to change any circumstance that you desire. Just like me in this situation, before this whole pandemic, I actually had some people who messed me over with some contracts. So it kind of messed with my money coming into this pandemic. Did I worry about it? Did you hear me complaining? No. What did I do? What am I going to do to make sure that I don't even have to be worrying about these fools? Right? I'm taking control of my power. Nobody has control over my own power and how I utilize that. So we need to remember that we are in power over ourselves, and we are in control of our own manifestation. So be encouraged with that. And then let me go into Maya, and then I'll probably jet off. Maya, I'm getting a really peaceful energy from you. And what I'm hearing is just stay still. Stay still. I'm almost feeling you not kind of doing anything at the moment. And it almost feels like, it almost feels like you're in a float at the moment. Like you're floating in the air. I'm literally hearing a song, floating in the air. And I feel like that's what you need to begin to harness. And remember what I was talking about, this creative energy. It's hidden, and we need to begin to find it in this fuzziness, in this confusion, in this fogginess. It can be found, right? So yeah, that's the energy I was feeling before I pick a card. My PayPal, if someone can actually post it in the comments, is soulreconnectioninfo@gmail.com. That's soulreconnectioninfo@gmail.com. And yes, I'll do you now, cultural connoisseur and just me. Who was it? Maya. Let me pick your cards. Haven't even picked your card yet. All right. Okay, so yeah. So this is the altar card that came up, and what I'm getting with connection in this card, and what I just said to you, Maya, was there's almost an energy of, and I feel like a lot of people may be feeling this, especially as the South Node is in Sagittarius, because there's a lot of religious aspects to spirituality that we don't actually realize that we're actually engaging in. And I feel like you're seeing spirituality and you're seeing the way that people do it, and there's almost a discouragement inside of you because you're like, okay, well, I don't have an altar, I don't have this, I don't do the spells, I don't. And it's like, okay, am I spiritual? But I'm feeling your sense of peace, and I'm feeling your energy of where you are. You are spiritual just the way that you are, and your spirituality is not defined on how other people define their spirituality. So it's important for you to remember that. The fire card has come up for you as well. So this again confirms what I was saying about your creativity and really discovering what you're passionate about. I feel like that passion will be discovered in the stillness, in the quietness of your mind. And it will just begin to filter through, be like, oh, okay, what was that? Oh, I like doing that. That feels quite nice. So I feel like you're going to be going through that process at the moment, and yeah, just allow it to happen. Don't feel that your journey has to be a specific way. I hope that resonated with you. Here was next cultural connoisseur. Right. Oh, Luna. Oh, Luna. Okay. The moon. I love that name. Okay. What I'm getting with you. It's quite interesting because it's what came up with me just before I came on this live. I was remembering the new moon in the full moon in Sagittarius was the second video that I'd done in my channel, and it was very interesting because I'd given you guys, if you guys remember, I gave you guys an exercise to do about writing your own prophecy of your life. And it's quite interesting because I'm literally in the embodiment of the prophecy that I wrote last full moon in Sagittarius right now. So listen, working by moon phases actually works. And I will actually be doing a lunar transformation workshop for you to understand the eightfold manifested, can't bloody say that word. Yeah, how to manifest with or how to transform yourself with the moon or the moon phases. But the reason why I'm mentioning that is what I was hearing is write the new script. And I was connecting to your name, Luna, the moon. It connects to the moon. What does the moon actually represents a motif or a pattern that is often in place. And what I'm picking up is that there's a pattern, or the pattern of your life hasn't been conducive. You don't like it and you want it to change. Okay, so it changes the moment that you change the script. It changes the moment that you change the record. And so this new moon, this is what you're going to be focusing your intentions on. For the next year, what do you want your life to be able to look like, or how do you want it to be able to change and transform? How differently do you want it to be able to look? So yeah, really, and I'm seeing writing, and I'm seeing that you are meant to be doing more writing. I'm also seeing blogging. Blogging, expressing. There's more. My throat chakra is quite active at the moment, so I'm definitely feeling that there's a need for you to be speaking more, and I'm feeling that part of that pattern is you not actually speaking out in your own power, or speaking your own truth, and feeling guilty for expressing those truths. So let me go into your cards and see what comes up for you. That resonates. Okay, I'm glad that resonates. And you're welcome, Maya. What cards are coming up for you? Oh, this one came out. Oh, God. Okay, so the card that came up is, or the first card that fell out was the invocation card. And I'm seeing a particular ritual for you to be able to do. And I'm seeing fire because there's something that needs to be sparked in you. I'm seeing a sparking. I'm seeing an empowerment. And there's an invocation of the true self, because the true part of you does know when to speak out. It knows what to say. It just somehow it freezes up in these moments. So what I'm being encouraged to tell you to work more with fire. Work more with fire. And I'm hearing cinnamon as well. Cinnamon, again, is another connect with fire element as well, because there's something that needs to be stimulated. And I'm also seeing the sacral chakra. I'm seeing a loss of power within the sacral chakra. I don't really want to go too deep on that on YouTube, but I'm seeing a loss of power within the sacral chakra, which is why I feel I'm picking up sacral chakra, using connecting with the sacral chakra and really empowering that space, your sacred space again. Yeah. The second card that came up is the incubation card, and this is again coming into self, really coming back into the womb, sacral chakra. Maybe this also connects to mother energy as well, and maybe having to heal the nurturing connection to self, because I don't feel I feel a block in certain areas. And it's not to say that you don't have a good relationship, but there's certain things that I have not been cohesive, or I've created certain a dissonance between you, and probably also the moon as well, moon mother. That's what's coming up for me. So let me know how that resonates. But that's what was coming up for me when I did your reading. And just me, let me go into you, and then we'll be gone. Feel of frustration. I literally, that sigh was literally a sigh of frustration, a sigh of being fed up, don't know what to do, don't know how to. It's literally confusion and frustration, confusion and frustration, anger, and the thing is, with the anger I'm picking up, there's almost an energy of not understanding where that anger is coming from or why you're even angry. It's just anger, and this is this emotional battlefield that is taking place internally, that you're being encouraged to pay attention to and begin to not neglect, because things are coming up for a reason. Yeah, let me look into the cards. That's just before picking any cards. That's just the energy I'm picking up. Okay. So the first card that came up for you is the rebirth card. And this is very interesting because this is going to, with a rebirth, first comes a death. And Don't be scared of a death. A death is a shedding of something. It's a purging of something. When we look at the Tower card in the tarot, the tower has to fall for it to be rebuilt again. It's the falling that we often are scared of because we don't know. It's when the breaking takes place. The breaking down takes place. There's no foundation. There's no our comfort zones have been shifted. We don't know how to be able to operate in this zone, and I feel like this is where this frustration is because it's almost like a rug has been ripped up from underneath your feet without any forewarning, any preparation, and it's now just been like I literally hear a scream, and I literally see you just going into some kind of forest, into some kind of open field, and screaming because there's a level of release that needs to come out. I'm literally feeling that coming up from my heart chakra out into my throat chakra. So there's a lot of things going on inside that you just need to be able to release and not actually feel not feel any way about expressing that right now. This is literally about you. This is literally about your own rebirth and your own transformation. But some of the things that needs to begin to shed away is how you expect yourself to look in the rebirth process. The rebirth process is not a pretty process. We ain't gonna be looking pretty, literally dying and transforming ourselves. It's a hard journey to go through. So I feel like you just need to allow yourself to just be so real, so raw, so honest. Because it's in that rawness and honesty that true healing is going to begin to come for you. And the containment card has come up, and this is again the what's inside, really paying attention to what's inside, and also what do you have inside that you can also add to your creation. Like, what gifts do you have? Like, what talents do you have? What do you have inside of you? Understand that frustration, the frustration is valid because yes, this is a crazy situation, but use that frustration to bring you closer to where you need to be and where you desire to be. So there's a way to begin to transmute this energy and be able to use it for good. And yeah, I really hope that that resonates with you. Cultural connoisseur, I'm glad that that resonates with you. Yeah, I don't really need people's real names, to be honest. As you can see, I actually read cards before I read people's energy before I read the cards. So I don't even need people to give me much information before I can actually read their energies. So yeah, let me know how those readings were for you, and I'm hoping that this live was informative for you to begin to understand a bit more about this energy and what you can do in this energy. Remember that you can also get the Face It book on Amazon, the Shadow Workbook. I will put the link in the description box, along with my PayPal description as well. So if you want to be able to leave a donation on my PayPal, I will leave that link down below as well. And yeah, I've got loads of content that will be coming up for you guys, as there's a lot of transits happening, so I want to make sure that I can get these all out for you. But before that, I need to go hit my bed. So until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.